President Trump announced a rollback of transgender student bathroom protections. LGBTQ activists were quick to rise up against him. This is a community that has had decades of practice in fighting for and defending its rights, dating back to a time when it had almost none. A new ABC miniseries is shining a light on this ongoing struggle, and here's ABC's Elizabeth Vargas.
Trans equality now! Trans equality now!
It was an emotional scene of resistance just steps away from the White House lawn.
Shame on Trump! Protect trans students!
Hundreds gathering on Pennsylvania Avenue last week to protest President Trump's revoking of the rule allowing transgender students to use the bathroom in which they identify. 17-year-old Gavin Grimm is the lead plaintiff in a lawsuit to be settled by the Supreme Court later this month.
No one, not even the government, can defeat a community so full of life, color, diversity, and most importantly, love.
Trans Americans across the country standing up to fight.
I have a message for President Trump. This is a disaster, and you can still fix it.
This critical moment coincides with the debut of ABC's new miniseries, When We Rise.
We are not a menace. We will not be silent any longer.
It chronicles 40 years of the struggle for LGBT equality. The powerhouse cast includes Rosie O'Donnell.
We got a loud voice. We could use another loud voice.
Whoopi Goldberg, and David Hyde Pierce.
Not a gay man.
Transgender actress Ivory Aquino is one of the show's breakout stars.
It must have been disappointing for you then to learn of President Trump's recent rescinding of the national directive that President Obama put in place. You're obviously emotional.
It's hard enough to want to be your authentic self amidst society telling you that it's wrong. The thought of that happening to these kids who just want to use the restroom. That's why I'm so thankful for the show. I feel like I'm part of something that's doing something.
Might enlighten people?
Yes.
I believe our history has been covered up in shame for far too long. Fear of exposure has kept our history unwritten.
Dustin Lance Black is the creator of When We Rise, the first series of its kind. Since winning his Oscar for writing the screenplay for Milk, Black has become an outspoken activist for LGBT rights.
You could not have possibly anticipated that we would be in this time that we're in when your miniseries would air.
Not exactly this position, no. I can't believe we're living in a country right now where you can attack school children. These are school children
who just need to go to the bathroom.
They need to go to the bathroom so that they can go back to their classroom and try and learn. And they're now being bullied by their government. You know, I say loud and clear to President Trump and to Vice President Pence, you are fathers. Imagine if your daughters were sent to school and were told they had to go to the boys' restroom. You would fight like hell to stop that from happening, to keep them safe. And that's what we're gonna do.
Take your hands off!
One of the show's central storylines charts the AIDS crisis during the 1980s and 1990s, decimating the gay community.
Richard, you know the drill, right? It's your bad.
The most difficult part, sorry.
It's okay.
I think the most difficult part of the show was when we ended up in San Francisco. And we were on those streets that I walked as a kid. And we're recreating these events. I just think about all of my friends and mentors who won't live to see the new freedoms that we've won and help us push forward together. They didn't get to see this moment. And I know there's more work to do, but LGBT lives are getting better. And I miss a lot of the people who I fought alongside to get here. And so those streets, that concrete in the Castro, there are thousands of lives in those sidewalks, and far too many of them are gone.
A core activist chronicled in the series is Cleve Jones. He famously came up with the idea for the AIDS memorial quilt.
Cleve's experience is the closest to mine. Different in many ways, but I mean, he's a gay white man from a conservative place.
You got a problem?
What?
He's with me.
Cleve works closely alongside lesbian activist Roma Guy, portrayed first by Emily Skaggs.
We are not a menace.
and later by Mary Louise Parker.
Roma Guy is this force of nature. She probably has done something in her life that benefited you in some way. She probably fought for some cause. You see how you can get things done with a spirit that big.
That spirit is evident in each of the show's characters. When Cleve comes across a baby who has been abandoned by drug-addicted parents, he steps in to foster the child.
And Cleve takes that baby and falls in love with that baby and cares for that baby and then loses that baby because he's gay.
Yeah.
Are these yours?
Because they found AIDS medication in a time when there finally was a treatment. So he was going to be okay, but it indicated he was gay. And guess what?
We have a connection. This is a baby's home. What?
It was legal at the time to deny a gay person the ability to foster parent at that time.
No!
It's that denial of love that I think is at the root of emotional violence against LGBT people. I was 6, 7 years old when I first had a crush on a boy down the street. For an LGBT kid, when you have that crush, you might have that for a moment, and then it's fear and it's shame, and that's incredibly debilitating.
It's in essence a rejection of self.
A complete rejection of self, and something you can't change. Trust me, they tried. They failed.
He is referring to gay conversion therapy, the widely discredited practice that aims to change one's sexual or gender identity.
The fact that somebody is homosexual,
Dr. Charles Socarides was one of the earliest and most fervent proponents of such psychotherapy aimed at curing homosexuality.
This is a conversation that we've needed to have for a while.
In this emotional scene from the series, his son Richard comes out to his homophobic father.
Be very careful about
you know that I'm gay. It's time we both said it out loud.
The scene was very traumatic. It was very difficult for me, given who my father was.
Dad, come on.
This is what you're making me do, Richard.
He did, in fact, as is shown in the scene, pull out a gun. I knew that the gun was probably not loaded. I knew he wasn't going to fire it, but it was very emotional.
The role is portrayed by his real-life brother, actor Charles Socarides.
I'm so proud of my brother for doing it. You know, I'm gay, he's not gay, but he is certainly an ally.
I like to think of our father as someone who, in some sort of alternate reality, could have adapted, could have changed.
Black hopes Americans from all walks of life will be inspired by these stories of bravery and perseverance.
We are survivors.
I know the fact that it's on ABC, that it's on a major network, is what attracted this cast to participate. But I think everyone understood the potential of this to reach a broader audience, to not preach to the choir. I believe that America is great because we're really, really different from one another. Let's be the strongest nation in the world through inclusivity and acceptance and celebration of difference.
For Nightline, I'm Elizabeth Vargas in New York.
Our thanks to Elizabeth, and the remainder of the series airs tomorrow night and Friday night right here on ABC.